So today we're going to talk about Social Security. Want to give you a full Social Security update, talk about how seniors could potentially get an extra $2,400 boost per year, and also explain the cost of living adjustment and the update there. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's so many issues right now, and I really want to address this because I know that seniors are getting screwed, and I really want to address this. So for all you seniors out there that have been asking for additional updates, here you go. Now, here's the reason why I really want to address this, because somebody asked me the other day. Here's the question. They asked, how will Social Security and Social Security recipients be impacted by all the news surrounding inflation, a potential recession, and all these shortages? Thank you. Well, now, honestly, I didn't plan on addressing this right now. I was going to wait so more information can come out, but this is extremely important. As more and more Social Security recipients struggle just to pay their bills, to keep food in the pantry, and let alone buy medication that they need to live, I thought this was a priority. I want to address this. So let's address the problem that we are currently seeing. Well, the problems. There's more than one. First, I want to talk about the good news, that the Social Security Trust, it won't become insolvent until 2035. This is 1 year after it was originally expected. Now, I want to touch on this because the data that we saw was somewhat misleading. I want to explain why. If you remember, I actually did a video on this just last week, and I talked about how the Social Security Trust wasn't going to become insolvent for an additional year, which is great news. But at the same time, the data that we saw, well, there were some issues there. So here's what we know. According to the Social Security Trustees report, it stated that the change in this the solvency was due to two main factors. The first one being that increased revenue paid into the trust came through wages, obviously, but this was heavily skewed by the fact that more workers were coming back to work in recent months due to the so-called pandemic being over, right? So what we're seeing is, okay, all these people are just coming back to work all of a sudden, and now they're paying into the trust. All right, great news. They're paying the Social Security payroll tax. Awesome. But that's just part of it. The second thing that was being factored in is that there was a lower amount of disability claims. Well, why is that? Well, according to reports, it is believed that this was heavily skewed due to the fact that so many Social Security offices were closed for most of the past 2 years. So let's take away those two factors. The newest report now shows that Social Security would become insolvent in 2033, 1 year sooner than originally expected. And keep in mind that we're still experiencing record high inflation, a possible recession, right, which would lead to increased unemployment, which if more people are unemployed, that would lead to less revenue coming in from wages. So again, this isn't the greatest news, but again, I want to be honest with you where everything is currently at. So let's touch on this a little bit more. Right now, the Social Security Trustees report is telling us that, yes, that the Social Security will become insolvent 1 year later. But again, keep this in mind. If the United States, which are already in kind of a bear market, if the United States goes through a recession, and it doesn't matter if it's for 6 months, we could be in it right now. It doesn't matter if it's for 18 months. If we are in a recession, chances are we are going to see increased unemployment. That's what happens. And again, as more people become unemployed, less revenues coming in. So this would completely change things. Okay, this would completely change. So we might not see Social Security become insolvent in 2020 or 2033. It could be even sooner than that if we dip into a recession. But the good news is, if, let's say, and again, this is just an example, but let's say we get new reports over the next year that says, you know what, we've been in a recession and we are going to see that we are going to become insolvent in 2030. Well, if this happens in the next couple of years, guess what? We still have 5 years. It's 2025 at that point. We still got until 2030 to fix things. Well, what could happen there is we just have this economic rebound, shoot right back up, everything's good, wages come back, workers come back, and the Social Security Trust gets more money added to it. That would be great news. So again, that could happen, all right? So let's just be well aware of that. Even though this is temporarily bad news, the good news could be coming, but it could be coming a little bit, down the line in a few years. So just keep that in mind. And again, if you have questions on any of this stuff, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Now, let's address the cost of living adjustment for 2023 because I've been getting so many reports on this, so many questions. Because according to the Senior Citizens League, they are saying that due to hot inflation, we could see a cost of living adjustment for 2023 at 8.6%. I actually reported on this last week. Now, this is the same as inflation is right now. So that's good news. The cost of living adjustment is going to keep up with inflation. Well, we didn't see that this past year because we saw a 5.9% cost of living adjustment for 2022. The problem is inflation at that point was already up over 6%. So we were already under. We were already upside down because of the cost of living adjustment. So we were kind of screwed to begin with there. Now I say we. Now I'm not on Social Security, obviously, but I say we because, again, this is, I think, a problem everybody has to address. Now, this number is going to change by the end of the year. As we get close to the end of the year, this number will change. What you need to keep in mind is that the third quarter of 2022 is going to dictate what the cost of living adjustment will be for 2023. So that's one thing that you just got to keep in mind. Now, based off of economist projections, we could also see and easily see hot inflation through September. Now, why is this so important? If this happens, the cost of living adjustment for 2023 is likely to be higher than 8.6%. Yeah, it could be higher. It could be up over 9%. Now, the good news with this is that almost all economists believe that inflation will come down from where it is right now at 8.6%. It's going to come down by the start of 2023. If this happens, then you could see a cost of living adjustment, let's say around 9%. You could see inflation under 8%. Guess what? You would come out ahead for probably the first time in quite some time. So right there, that is good news. All right. So, and I understand the cost of living adjustment, the projections, they change every single month. That's just the way it's going to be because of inflation. Again, that's what it's going off of. Cost of living adjustment is going off of inflation. So just keep that in mind. It goes off the CPI-W. Okay. So it's a little bit different than the report that you normally see. Okay, but again, that's for a different video. Now, here's a big one. The $2,400 boost to Social Security recipients. I really want to address this because this is a bill that was proposed by senators. It was pitched just recently. This was also pitched in 2021. This was pitched more recently, but this bill would actually provide seniors with additional relief. Provide them with $2,400 extra per year or $200 per month. Now this bill, this proposal isn't coming from President Biden. This money is not coming from him. This money is actually coming from Congress. Now, what this proposal was trying to do is trying to get more relief to seniors. Because we know seniors that, or anybody on a fixed income recently has been screwed because of inflation, the price of gas, food, right? Everything's more expensive. Rents, utility bills, medications, everything is more expensive. Now, here's the problem with the proposal. And again, I addressed this past week as well. But this proposal states that people making over $250,000 per year in income would be taxed the Social Security payroll tax. You're probably thinking, well, okay, what's the problem with that? No big deal. Well, currently, income over $147,000 isn't taxed through the Social Security payroll tax, which means if the Social Security only gets the tax from $147,000 and below. So if somebody makes $1 million, okay, or let's say $947,000 per year, there's $800,000 that isn't taxed for Social Security. That's the problem. But here's the other thing. The most significant piece to this is President Biden promised when he was running for president, he promised in his campaign that nobody making less than $400,000 per year would see a penny more in taxes. Guess what? If this bill were to pass and people making over $147,000 up to $400,000, they would be hit with this. They would be impacted. And guess what? There's a lot of people, there's millions of people that make over $147,000 and under $400,000 that fill that gap. So right there, this proposal would mean President Biden doesn't fulfill another one of his promises. Guess what that would do? That would hurt President Biden if he decides to rerun. That would hurt Democrats when they decide who is going to run for president in 2024. And that would hurt Democrats who are currently running for their seats in the House and the Senate in 2022. So again, this midterm election could be a big swing, okay? Just because of what happens leading into this midterm election. Again, this is 4 or 5 months away. This is coming up in November. So again, this is a big deal. And lastly, let's talk about the shortages that we're seeing and food, right? This is the big one. Now, I want to talk about gas prices as well, because gas prices are a big deal. Now, I'm going to look up the price really quick just so I have have an accurate number. But right now, food is more expensive. We see this all over the place. You walk into grocery stores and some of their shelves are empty. Some of the products that you see are not those inexpensive store brand products. No, they are the more expensive products. These are the products that are, the bread, the loaf of bread that costs $4. Milk that is $5 a gallon. You go in, let's say you buy, you want some pasta. Well, it's not the cheap pasta that's there. It's the luxury brands that cost double what pasta normally does. That's the issue. And again, it's a huge issue. But this is the problem that every American is facing, is we are seeing these major shortages and price increases. Okay, again, look at this. Price right now of gas right now is $5.01. This is as of today. Okay, now it hasn't changed since yesterday. Well, really, okay, it hasn't. A week ago, yes, it's up, right? 10 cents. Definitely up from a month ago. Was it 56 cents? Right? So obviously big changes there, but again, this is just part of the problem. But this is what everyone's looking at, is how can we fix what's going on? Because I can tell you right now, and for the next 6 months at least, for people on Social Security, you are going to have to prepare, and you need to be preparing right now. This is why I've been saying for the past 2 months, don't wait, stock up on items now, because you're going to save money. Maybe you don't need this item for another month or 2 months. But again, when it comes to pasta, if you can buy the pasta now, buy the bag of rice and beans now, and save 50% of what you're going to pay in 4 weeks or in 6 weeks, I'd recommend you do it if you can afford it. Okay, so that's the reason why I keep on bringing you these different updates, is because I want to show you a whole picture of what's going on, not just a very specific situation. Again, Social Security recipients are not getting the money that they need to because of all the problems that we've had, now, yes, but also in the past. So again, this is what we know. There's a lot of issues going on right now, but I just wanted to fill you in on this quick little update regarding Social Security benefits and what could potentially be coming for Social Security recipients. So again, just want to thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions whatsoever, ask your questions down in the comment section below. Now, I know I do not get to every single comment. Hey, I got to go through and delete a lot of the spam comments first before I can even answer everyone else's comment. But at the same time, I look at them, and a lot of times what I'm doing is I'm answering the comment in a specific video. So again, if you have questions, ask the question, and chances are I will answer that in a specific video. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.